It's irritating sometimes, and we're live right now, I think.
Yes.
Everything's clicking away.
Tickety.
Clickety. Hey, everybody, come on in. It's the 4th of December, and my voice still hasn't recovered. So you're going to have to deal with a scratchy me this morning. Going to run the opening and a disclaimer just to be safe, and we'll kick out the program. It's always safe to be safe. It makes Nita happy.
The views and opinions expressed within the video content found on the Indie Comics Network are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Indie Comics Network or its sponsors.
And now we can drop this. Happy holidays, everybody. Welcome to Sunday Funnies for the 4th of December. We're glad you're here. Thanks for coming in. Hit that like button, hit that love button. We did have 5 people watching, and that has since dropped down to 3 mysterious people. The chat is open. Come on in, folks.
The sex bots are still here.
Huh?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Say what?
That doesn't count. You don't even know how many people are on Facebook. It probably tells you that.
Oh, no. And we love everybody that's watching us, no matter where you're watching us. But go over that Indie Comics Network if you haven't yet, and hit that on that YouTube page. Hit that subscribe button, will you? Very important to us that all of our subscribers actually be living, breathing people. So we want to grow this. We want to grow this channel. So tell your friends. We hope.
Occasional
sex bots.
There's no sex bots already.
Sex bots.
Now that you've called them,
Yeah, right.
Call them and they will come.
I've summoned them. Now they shall.
now they
We
should.
got a real
populate
person,
your-
Alison. Thank God for Alison.
Allison's in the house. Hi, Allison. Allison's program was just on Friday.
It's Friday,
Very good.
yeah.
It's our drawing Raven. It was awesome.
I'm wearing
Allison.
an ironic shirt today.
Are you? That's very true. No, today we want to talk about what we can give as gifts that are comics to encourage people to read more comics and expand this business or enjoy more comics. You don't have to. Not all of them are meant to be read, and but we want to find the good ones, the stuff that we can give away as presents to people that don't normally read comics. I hate the word normies. I don't want to use it, but a lot of times what I
People
just
who
did.
aren't nerds.
People who aren't.
I don't mind the word normie.
Non-nerds.
My wife is a normie.
Yeah, my wife.
Allison will be.
I feel like that gives me some connection to normality.
I don't
feel I'm
remotely
punching
see
up.
your wife as a normie. But
I don't think it matters what people call you because it's Shakespeare, isn't it? Attention has been paid, so
Yeah.
they can call you what they like as long as they're talking about you.
Yeah,
know?
Sure.
Aye.
Allison says, "I will be drawing Iron Fist this Friday."
I
So,
have a lesson
look
on the
forward
front
to
of
that.
my shirt. How to
Hang
draw
on, hang on.
Santa.
Hang
Yeah,
on, just a second, Russ. I gotta throw it up here. Boom.
How to draw Santa Claus. Okay, there you go.
Draw a
You
beard
start
and
off with a
have
little.
a
There you go. Fill in all the
Everything
details here.
starts with a
There you go.
circle. Yeah.
Stretching his beard and face. And then down there, just like get that bit right.
Add a little hat.
Yeah. And then suddenly you've got Santa. It's fantastic.
And fill in the rest of the details. Yeah.
Great.
That's
Just
like
fill in
so
the
many YouTube tutorials right there.
detail. Yeah.
It is. I've seen a lot of drawing tutorials exactly like that. How to draw Batman. Start with a circle, draw out a stick figure, and then just add the
And
details.
suddenly,
There you go. Suddenly
the
there's
magic
Batman.
appears.
Yeah, exactly. C says good morning, but you're already here.
That's not me. That's a different C. Hey,
Is
C.
that a different
Hey,
C?
I see.
It's a C
It's
in
a
the
different
table.
C.
I
C.
see
Are you telling me
you.
there's 2 letter C's out there? in the world?
Apparently. Now, look, every time
Oh my goodness.
I can't go by anything. Chris, Michael, C. There's always another one somewhere.
Right.
From
Yeah,
the
see.
shining
Didn't
sea.
see ya.
Yeah.
I found a few Lukes out there now. There's one
I don't
guy's
know
name
how
is
that would
Fresher
happen. You're
Luke.
only in a major book. So,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
and he's a doctor at that. So, hell,
Right. Yeah.
you know, who wouldn't
Yeah.
want to be called Luke, right? It's not like you end up with a nasty name like Randy.
And I ended up in a movie.
How you feeling? I'm Randy. There you go.
See, you could you could do that Kennedy thing and say that you're the gentleman that accompanied Mrs. Lanning to the show. You don't hear that one about Jackie.
I don't think so, but I could see it.
And I didn't
He
even
said
realize the connotation behind my name until I was well past high school. So I'm Matt Fizzell. Matt Fizzell did a cartoon that said hello and then had a caricature of me in stick figure, because that's what Matt Fizzell draws. It says, I'm Randy. And the other guy goes, I bet you are.
Well, listen to this. Russ will understand this. My father-in-law is called Gordon Bennett.
Nah.
And it's like what was it? Was it?
It was like it's an exclamation. It's an exclamation, like blimey.
Yeah,
oh, blimey. Gordon Bennett. That's what Cockneys
yeah.
say.
Gordon
Bennett.
Bennett.
Gordon Bennett. Apples and pears. Love a duck. Upstairs.
man.
Yes.
Gordon Bennett.
Love a
Gordon
duck
Bennett
is my
would be
favorite
cool.
one.
Love a
Love a
duck.
duck. Love a duck.
Love a duck.
Oh, bless you, governor. Yeah, it's all right.
Gotta try to
As a guy that
incorporate
tries
from
not
now
to
on.
Would you
curse
like
often.
some chestnuts? Gordon Bennett is quite an odd thing to be called. I think it's a bit like being called Annette Curtin.
Well,
It's better than Peter File.
When Steptoe and Son started using it on the television, his name is Gordon Joseph. He went around, and he'd be like 50 then, and he went around telling everybody his name was Joseph now, not Gordon, because of this Gordon Bennett. Gordon Bennett.
He says apples and pears equal
They
stairs.
They
Yep.
do indeed.
They do,
Plates of meat,
Yep.
feet.
It's a rhyming game, isn't it?
yeah.
It is.
That's what it is.
Cockney
All rhymes.
rhyming slang.
Allison
and trap.
says Ben Edlund did a joke like that years ago. It was draw a circle with a line through it. Now draw a stick holding it.
It's like Ray Barney.
Draw the tick holding it. Yeah,
Yeah.
funny.
I was always a fan
I got
of
a couple
I
of-
like to think.
That's why I was off camera when I first came in. I was looking for some books that people definitely need to get.
I got books around me.
Yeah, well, you always
Like
got
always.
books around you.
I always have books. You just can't see them. And
Yeah.
Russ just ran off to get his books. I'm your host, everybody, Randy Zimmerman. Been doing this for a long time. Been podcasting for a couple of years now. Kind of love this. Absolutely. Even though my voice is hoarse, and I'm down to coffee and ginger tea. So yesterday I'm a lot better than yesterday. Yesterday I was flat on my back. Today I'm feeling a lot better.
Well, you are Randy.
I am Randy, after all.
It's like that. Every time I hear your name, though, I always thought of that little kid. The
And you
little
know
brother
it's-
on the Christmas Story.
It's not Randall. It's not Randolph. It's on the birth certificate. It's actually Randy. I'm
That's
like-
the way it is with my wife, Beth.
And
So, like, her name's
I know-
Beth, right? You think it's Bethany or Elizabeth? No.
it's just Beth. Yeah.
Well, I had
never-
a friend named Donnie, and I was like, okay, so that's what, short for Donald? No, just Donnie.
Donnie.
They named me Donnie. He said, oh,
Wow.
Well,
Creative.
sadly, it shows my parentage, I guess. I never did ask my parents why they named me that. There's no rhyme or reason. I was the fourth kid out of 5, so they had apparently ran out of names. So,
They got to the end of the alphabet.
right.
We're up this end of the alphabet now. We might have another couple. We don't know. Go with the R's.
So it was part of my troubled youth. Yeah, is what it was. Not just that, but I ended up in my early years, I looked exactly like Jerry Mathers. So I had and you don't know who Jerry Mathers is, but he was the
Leave It to
lead
Beaver, huh?
little kid from Leave It to Beaver. Yeah.
There we go.
Leave it
My
to
older
Beaver.
brother still calls me Beaver to this day.
You know your father. He loves hunting
And we-
beaver.
That
My
was a couple weeks ago we talked about that one, right?
my eldest brother calls me Mickey for some reason. I don't know why. Don't know where that came from.
Mickey or Nicky?
Mickey with an M, as in mouse.
Mickey.
He's your oldest
In the
brother.
mouse.
He calls me
Something about
Mickey.
your dad slipping your mom. Never mind.
Oh,
That's how that happened.
Heyo.
That
I
was a bit.
slipped around the Mickey. Oh,
That was a bit out of order, wasn't it?
sorry, he keeps coming in the room.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gone again now.
Oh Lord.
Glad you feel. Thank you, Allison. I'm glad I'm feeling better as well. C says ginger does help the sinuses. Yes, it does. It's
You're not
really
going to
good
feel
too.
better after
Love
this
it.
show.
We're doing great.
Little ginger lemon tea and a scoop of honey. There we are. Anyway, also joining me is C. C, introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm C. Michael Lanning, independent artist. Done work for Calico of Shard with Randy. It's also for Arrow Comics. Also host of Dispatches from Outside the Box here on IndieComicsNetwork.com every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Also with us today is Glenn Fleming. Glenn, introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name's Glenn Fleming. I'm a writer, artist, and publisher relevant to this show. I'm the author of this book about Jack Kirby, about my trip to meet him at his house. And you get a DVD with that. You can order that through me. And not relevant to this show, I wrote this book as well about football. Right? And the
Soccer for everyone out there.
yeah, soccer for all those unenlightened people. I also
Sports
created
ball.
this character Hatch, and this second book is going to be gone on Indiegogo in the new year because things keep slipping back, as you all know. And I also published this quarterly 100-page magazine about comics, Comics Unlimited. So number 11 is now just been released now on sale on Amazon.
I just picked that up. It's a corker.
Oh, thank you.
It's a corker. Okay.
Corker, yeah, it's a
Gordon
corker.
Bennett, Lubber Duck. It's a corker. I'll just have to cook. Just have a. There you go. Cock it down. There you go.
Also with us this morning is Russ. Russ Leach. Introduce yourself, buddy.
I true am a fiercely independent artist, as in I don't live with my parents anymore. Other than that, I'll draw anything for money. Me. So currently on Batman in the UK and Europe.
Oh, hang on. Show that cover again. And
There's some
gotta
Batman
blow that
going
up
on
so
there.
that folks
Some
realize
Batman going on there.
that's you.
There's
That's
some-
you.
There's Only Death Can Save Us as well, and a few other books that I've done along the way. Done some Marvel, done some bits and pieces, some Cartoon Network. And you can find out all about me at russleach.com. All my social medias are there. I'm just on Twitter at the moment with popcorn, watching the fun. So you can join me there, or you can join me on all the others. Just go to russleach.com.
Cool. Also with us this morning is Luke Stone. Luke, introduce yourself.
Thanks for having me this morning. My name's Luke Stone. I'm a writer and
Thanks for
artist.
coming up.
I draw some things and I write some things, and I I'm all over the place.
All over.
You know, all over the place. So yeah, you check me out, LukeStoneStudios.com, and soon to be the fundmycomic.com crowdfunding platform will be up later this year. This year ain't got much longer to go either. So yeah. But yeah, so we're
Within a
very
few
moving
weeks.
along.
In a few weeks, yeah.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of stuff done. So haven't really done anything of note, but that's next year.
Oh, you're funny.
Next
listen
year
to
might
you.
be the year. Next year might be the year for me. I just
Look at
feel
that.
it.
Look at that Rift Riders campaign over on Indiegogo, and you've only done 9 issues of hybrids?
Yeah, just the 9.
Just 9. Yeah.
Yeah, just 9 of them.
Most artists have a hard time hitting issue 2. So yeah, not much. Yeah.
You know what the secret to doing that is?
Keep going.
Coffee. You gotta have lots of coffee.
For that too.
Yeah.
The more coffee you drink,
I think you learn so much from watching a lot of Roadrunner cartoons and seeing Wile E. Coyote constantly trying over and over and over again
Meep, meep.
into that mountain or down that cliff or whatever, and just keep going. That's what you got to do. It's tenacity that wins the day.
Every
really
time you
part
come
of
to a tunnel, make sure you stick your hand out and make sure it's not a wall.
I have to do that with any automatic doors, and I learned that after like the 3rd time of running straight into them. They don't recognize me, and I have to walk in front of them and act like a wizard and just tell it to move aside, and to the waving of my hand that catches the motion detector that moves the door, or I will go face first right into it. It's really irritating. I can't explain it. It's just the way it is, and everybody looks at me funny, like I'm the techno wizard. Move, And it's like, no, I'm saving my nose. It's already big enough. Don't need to keep hitting it. It's just like Star Trek. You're always assuming that it's going to move for you. They're not on that sheet of plywood all the time in order to shove it across just in time. It doesn't. There's a lot of those bloopers out there too.
There you go. That's my door opening and closing behind me.
They make that big sound effect in order to drown out the plywood scraping on plywood. When you look at that series, that's what it was.
I believe that.
Guys underneath go. So I can hear them walking up above, and there's so many bloopers where they're just running into those doors or they're not opening fast enough.
Yeah.
Good times.
Believe that. Yeah.
So hey, the theme for today's Sunday Funnies, because we are in that gap between Thanksgiving and Christmas, is it's time to think about, if you haven't already, buying gifts for your loved ones, no matter who they are. And you want to give the gift of comics. So we're here to make suggestions as to what we think you should give to your friends and relatives in lieu of socks or fruitcakes. Give them comics.
So who's going first?
Anybody.
Well, I'm
Save my breath.
going to show you this now, really off the wall, but I think people should get a copy of this.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
What is that?
Nice
Explain
thick. It's a compilation of, it's collector's edition of Mad Magazine.
Paperback trade.
Yeah,
Paperback.
I don't know when it came out. It's a long time ago, but it's just absolutely fantastic. You know, these caricatures that you get in the films. Mort Drucker's in it, obviously. Angelo Torres. You know, they're all in it. It's just fabulous. It's got some fabulous work in it.
And Matt is down now to basically doing bunches of reprints of their older material.
Well,
and selling them in sets. So
this would be I mean, look at that. This would be a fantastic place to start.
Yeah.
That's sort of like a Marie Severin type of Marvel Office thing, isn't it? You've seen those?
It is. Yep, like that Foom cover we looked at.
Yeah. It's. I mean, you all know what Mad is like. I mean, it's got some of the best caricature artists in it. You know, I'm trying to find someone. Here we go.
They used to call them the usual gang of idiots, but they're all just talented cartoonists.
Mort Drucker is the best one of all this gang, in my opinion. Look at that for Mr. T. Look at that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that. How good is that?
What's really great about Drucker is the fact that his caricatures aren't really making fun of the person. Like he doesn't enlarge something like comically, and it's just fantastic.
He's a great artist. They all were on this series.
Comical likenesses, aren't they?
Incredible likenesses.
They're like bigger than life likenesses. They're really clever. Really clever.
There's a great, if I can find it, a great John Travolta one in Saturday Night Fever, which is absolutely.
That's the one that sticks in my mind most. Always is that one
where he's walking down the street.
Yes. Yeah, this isn't that, but look at that Dustin Hoffman and what's his face there?
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray. Bill Murray. Look, a very young, handsome Bill Murray. That makes him look a lot better looking than he actually is.
Well, look at that Dustin Hoffman. How good is that?
That's brilliant.
Absolutely fantastic, isn't it?
His nose isn't that big in real life, but we all know.
Well, it's a caricature, isn't it?
Look at
that. Look at that there.
Look at that.
Oh yes.
And is that Pollack? Sidney Pollack.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Look at that. This is called Tootsie Roll. This one. You've seen Tootsie.
Parody of Tootsie.
And there he is on that stage at the beginning when he has the argument with the director. This book is you can look at it for hours. You know, just the artwork and everything. It's just a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
You know, and you've got the great Don Martin as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, if anybody was crazy, it was Don Martin.
Is that still in print, mate?
I don't know. I've had this a long time.
Even if it's not in print, like I said, Mad right now is really making their money off of doing collections and reprint books. If you go to Barnes and Noble and look at their discount racks, it's very likely you're going to see a Mad collection sitting there at a pretty decent price. So And believe me when I tell you, you're not want to just give that away as a gift. You're going to want to
yeah.
take 15,
There's some-
20 minutes or so, or a half an hour, or a
buy
great
one for
afternoon,
yourself.
and read it before you give it away.
First one that comes up, you got Mad About Superheroes, which is that's
Well-
only £6, so it's under $10.
Yeah,
That's a good one to buy for Christmas.
it is.
But
Yeah.
this one,
Mad About the Trump Era. All right, I'm not sure about that, but I'm sure that's very well drawn.
That's obviously more recent humor.
There's
You
a
want
Mad
Yeah.
Archives, which is
Oh,
if you
look at
want to give away something, that's about £70,
Look at
about
that.
£55.
look at that Kirstie Alley there when she was
Yeah.
gorgeous and slim.
just amazing. Just the entire cast, the entire
Yeah.
Star Trek 2 cast is amazing. Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Totally Mad, 60 Years of Humour. There's a
Wow.
hardcover, although it doesn't have any price on it. Well, if you really want to go for it, there's a history of the comic book and magazine, £104 for paperback. So that's like $130, $120.
And that is
Also,
probably a coffee table book.
Yeah,
type
yeah, it's a
collection.
big book.
Probably
Yeah.
in
This,
hardback.
this
Yeah.
book, this particular edition was, look at this, £4.95.
God, yeah,
it.
that's got to be at least 20 years ago. Then,
Yeah, it's
isn't
got to be more than
Yeah.
that. I would have thought.
it?
Yeah,
I
but
would say probably in the 90s. Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
they couldn't. It's obvious they couldn't decide which great artist to put on the cover either.
yeah, that's right.
No,
They
exactly.
just
Yeah.
left it
Don't put anything on there.
just the logo, Mad Collector's Edition. What more do you
That's
need?
brilliant.
Look at that ET, just QT, the quasi-terrestrial.
So there are books out there that you can get on Amazon at the moment. I'm sure there's stuff elsewhere, Books A Million and what have you. But yeah, Amazon does have stuff there for varying prices.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
If you want to, I mean, the artwork is amazing, but it's just funny as well. So if you ever
Yes.
want to,
Yeah.
that's a good one to pass on, I think.
And the majority of that humor is completely timeless.
Yeah.
So a lot of that stuff's evergreen and just as funny today as
One-
what it was back when.
One thing I remember from way back, from about 90. Do you remember there was a is it Ben Gazzara, where he had a terminal illness and he used to wander around and meet different. It was a bit like The Fugitive meets the Invaders, where the guy moves on to the next town. Do you remember that? A Day in the Life, I think it was called. And I always remember in Mad Magazine at the end of it, where he fell in love with this girl, and he told her he was going to die in 6 months, so he had to leave. And she said, "I'll have a premature baby. I'll make instant coffee." That's the bit that always sticks in my mind. And she's running after him, and he's walking into the sunset.
Oh my god!
Quite a few years ago, I was in Barnes and Noble, and probably 5 or 6, just maybe 5 or 6 before the bug hit. Found a bound volume box set of everything Don Martin had done for Mad. That was printed in Mad Magazine. $30.
Oh,
$30. I looked at it, I went, there's $30 gone. And it's
Yeah.
beautiful. And we'll go through, and I spent an afternoon just going through both volumes, and it's everything except for some of the original paperbacks that he did. Captain Klutz isn't in it, and a couple of the other regular paperback books he did, but anything that was printed in Mad Magazine, all the little 1-page, 2-page jokes that he did with all the crazy sound effects. We'll go through that at a Comics by Night sometime real soon.
Yeah.
Because it is so funny and it's so classical, not just comics, but it's literally sequential art. And the guy had his own look, his own style, his own feel, and his own way of looking at humor that's just so unique. That
It was
I can't
crazy.
praise it enough. Yeah, he was absolutely insane. Great stuff. But yeah, Matt is a phenomenal suggestion. So hit your Barnes and Noble and take a look at their discount tables. A lot of times you can find some really good deals. I keep hoping those Tetchin books that they keep offering will come out in hardback. They're offering like the first 10 Spider-Man reprints by Ditko and the first 10 Avengers with Kirby available in they were available in like really beautiful hardcover $400 volumes. But Tetchin's known for doing those kind of discount table books that you find at Barnes and Nobles, those coffee books. I keep hoping that eventually they'll end up there at a reasonable price to pick up. So I can't wait to get those. They look really good. But I don't have the $400 to spend on the hardback
Yeah,
slipcase volumes. I just don't.
No, who does?
Yeah.
Right, I've got some.
Go ahead, blowing you up. There you
Okay,
are.
right.
Boom.
Okay. Now this is a various selection. Some of it is for the story, so that you can dive straight in. Some of it is for the art. I only have one kind of or two kind of arty books, which aren't mega expensive, but are more at the higher end, so like 30, 40 quid, about $50 maybe. So New Gods, okay. Nice. It's a reprint, obviously. Okay. Fantastic stuff. It's like it's Star Wars, basically. It's fantastic. So if you want a good read and you want a good eye full of dramatic energy in your artwork, go buy one of these. Again,
And-
not mega expensive. This was $29,
And
but you
if-
get a lot for your money. You
you
get
want-
a lot of reading for your money.
Well, if you want to read some of the most imaginative comics that have ever been, that's New Gods right there.
Yeah.
And it's very accessible, easy to get into characters, and a great story arc as well.
And again, glorious work,
Oh yeah.
but just great fun. Pick up the reprint of Shield, the whole run of Nick Fury by the great Steranko. It's just again fantastic fun. Okay, and again, it's not mega expensive. This one was $30. Okay, so you can
Yeah.
pick that up.
Is that the one that I had that we were looking at that has the garish?
Yeah, it
coloring in
is.
it?
Yeah, it is.
You have to be careful on some of those reprints.
Yeah.
You get those
They
plastic.
also do
uh,
Marvel
coloring
also do like a Marvel Visionaries, so they'll put together some artists' work from various different runs. So this is the John Buscema one, the Marvel Visionaries, okay, and it's got Silver Surfer in it. It's got Avengers and Thor, and so it isn't a complete run, but it gives you a good taster. So this is actually really good to throw in front of people who don't read a lot of comics. Okay, and just say, look, have a look through that, have a flick through, and enjoy that.
And
Okay.
collections like that are meant to be picked up by the casual reader.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about canon. You don't have to worry about long-running storylines. Most of those stories are self-contained.
exactly. It's all self-contained, which is why I picked these up, because I didn't do a lot of reading when I was a kid. Okay, I did read comics, but so much of me is about picking up for art. So I like to pick up these reprints so I can flick through and pick up some of the canon that maybe I missed before.
Yeah.
If you like a bit of sword and sorcery, Conan is always a great place to go. Okay,
Oh yeah.
all right. Again, and this is This is Conan the Conqueror. Okay, so it's slightly later, but this is great stuff. Okay. Then
Russ, just before you go, show us some
Yeah.
Gil Kane on that Conan.
Oh yeah,
Please.
That's a Gil Kane cover right there, I think.
It's Gil Kane, but he's been worked on. It's really good.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's lovely.
Well,
fabulous,
that.
isn't it?
Gil Kane's really good in general. So don't.
Yeah, but I mean,
of course
Don't get him wrong
I don't mean it isn't, but I mean,
Yeah.
like if you look at the stuff like this, it's simpler.
Yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
but he's worked more on that. You can see it.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's
And
that's a
the
great
cool
book.
thing about Conan, and I've got a collection here that I picked up at a show not too long ago of Cull the Conqueror.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
again,
John and
that's
Marie
great
Severin.
stuff.
Is that
yeah.
John Severin? That cover?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. The whole book is John and
Yeah.
Marie Severin.
Oh, I've not
Just-
seen that. I haven't seen that.
This reprints. It's got illustrations by Wrightson and Drew Wood, but
Oh.
mostly Marie and John Severin in it.
Wow.
But it reprints the Creatures on the Loose stories. Let me see how far it goes. I can't see the exact times, but it starts with the first.
Wow.
The first King Cull from Creatures on the Loose, and goes all the way through. Let me catch the last one here, and most of it's John and Marie Severin. Goes through Cull number 9.
Cool.
Look at that.
Stops just before my favorite Cull story. So I have to go out and find volume 2 in order to keep that going. But it's all of these stories are self-contained. They're right off of the Robert E. Howard short stories, and really with Cull and Conan, Solomon Kane, even, you can't go wrong. Just great old
Another
stuff.
Gil Kane cover here. This is the Epic collection, so you can pick these up now.
There you are.
The Epic
Yep.
collections. Okay, they're really good. Again, they're about 30, 40 bucks. All right. But you get a lot for your money. Some great art in there from John Buscema.
Oh wow.
That's probably got 20
Look at that.
issues or so of Conan.
Yeah. So
During a
you
prime run.
you get a lot of story for your money, and it's a really nice book to have. Some of the colours are garish compared to what they were when they were originally printed, but they're still good fun, and there's still, you know, for somebody to if you've got someone who like Lord of the Rings, say, okay, but has never picked up a comic, give them a Conan comic. You know, I know it's not quite the same, but it's got essences of it. You know, that they're probably going to enjoy it.
The fantasy part, yeah.
And if you
Literally-
like, and the same for science fiction. Okay,
Howard is literally the creator of the sword and sorcery genre.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
you've got like Warlock here, the whole thing by Jim Starlin. This is bonkers. Okay, if somebody likes the Matrix, or you know, some of the more science fiction films. This stuff is great. Okay? It's beautifully drawn. And it's bonkers. Again, it's a real it oozes comic books.
And if you don't know who Warlock is, you will in a couple of
You will.
months.
Yeah,
He's going to
that's
be a
true.
major
This is
character and get
very much.
3.
This is very much in vogue.
But really, the
if you
original
think-
Starlin works are just unbeatable. They're
They
phenomenally
are.
cosmic stuff.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
If you've got someone who wants to draw, you could pick this up for maybe $5 or $6. Okay, buy this. Okay, this is a fantastic book. Okay, it shows people how to draw, especially kids. Okay, it's brilliant. So pick that up, and it's a cheap one. It's a stocking fill.
Yeah.
Okay. If you go for the higher end now,
Before you
And-
do that, let me just add that How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, if you have a Books A Million or a 5 and below around where you're at, you can pick that book up for $5.
yeah.
That exact book that Russ has got in his hands.
If you
Oh,
want to
yeah.
see some cracking classic art in black and white, you can look no further than picking up old copies of Essentials. Okay,
Ah.
out on Amazon or on eBay.
Very
Buy
much so.
these books.
Yep.
Okay, they're This is all full of Joe Sinnott and Buscema. Okay, this is fabulous stuff. This will teach you just by looking at it. You can't possibly fail to take some of this stuff in.
Yeah.
You know, it's just wonderful stuff. And again, you can pick those up secondhand. They're great books. So
And
a bit of
not
both.
just the Essentials line, but look for the Showcase Presents
Yeah.
line too. And you can pick these up pretty inexpensively. This is Captain Carrot and his amazing zoo crew. Look at how thick that is.
How big
Yeah,
that is.
wow.
Is that
That's
black
a
and white
book.
as well, or
Who,
That's
what?
a book.
is that black and white as well, or is
Yes,
that
it is. It's newsprint
awesome.
interior,
nice?
And- written by Roy Thomas, by the way,
Yeah.
drawn by Scott Shaw. Some of it's written by Mark Evanier. Just classic old funny animal superheroes. It's meant to be lighthearted. It's meant to be fun. You've got Captain Carrot there. You've got Pig Iron over here, is super strong. Yankee Poodle, who can pull and push things. You have Fastback, who's a turtle that runs incredibly fast. Captain Carrot, the Superman equivalent, who eats radioactive carrots in order to get his strength. You have Alley Cat Dabra here, who is a cat sorceress. And here you have the rubber duck,
Rubber duck.
Yes.
who's a stretching duck. And if you haven't read these stories are great, super lighthearted stuff, meant to put your tongue in cheek. They have a villain in here called the Salamandroid. They really do. And these are old books. The first issue was a crossover with Superman in order to get you started. They lasted for a couple of years because they had no faith in this product, and it's a really solid, entertaining, fun product. You can give this to an 8-year-old kid, and he's going to eat this up. You know, anybody who's reading age or slightly older, maybe to young teens. And then there's all sorts of silly puns in this, all sorts of just fun. And then the book ends. The book has the entire Captain Carrot run, and then it ends with a 3-part Oz Wonderland War, which is a little bit more serious, where all of the characters get involved with a war between the land of Oz and Wonderland. And
When was that originally published?
Oh, this is out.
Not that book, the original series.
I know, I'm looking. The first issue was the preview was in the middle of a Teen Titans, New Teen Titans 16. So it was late 70s, maybe.
Right.
And then this has got that preview in it. It's got the entire Zoo crew, which ran, here he is looking at the table of contents, up to number 20. And then it's got the 3-issue Oz Wonderland War in it. There's the cover that was inside of the Teen Titans preview.
Yeah, I would kick Wonderland's butt. That's all I can say.
It's just great fun stuff. And again, Roy Thomas, Scott Shaw, Mark Evanier, and they brought on a few more cartoony people. They ended up dragging in all of the DC Funny Animal characters pretty much as they went along. It's just a great volume. Now, I found this volume literally at Ollie's. You can probably get it on Amazon. It's going to run you. It's got a price of $23.99 on it. It should still be in print. These showcases books are getting harder and harder to find. I got this at Ollie's for $6.99.
It's bargain.
Y'all get the good stuff. We don't get anything down here.
That is just incredible stuff. Well, I'm a big fan of this anyway. I've got my own team of funny animal superheroes. It's on my bucket list to do one of these days. I call them the hero herd.
Right. I've only got
the barnyard of justice. Anyway, go ahead, Russ.
If you like your heroes a bit more DC, you couldn't go worse than picking this up. Crisis on Infinite Earths, Marv Wolfman, and the great George Perez. Again, $30, and you get a lot for your money. It's not quite as big as the showcase we just looked at, but it's still great value. Still a wonderful book, and George Perez is always.
It's got a solid story arc to it. Yeah. You don't have to understand all of the heroes. You don't have to know everybody's background, but it literally has everybody in it.
Yeah. Honorable mentions
become very significant pretty soon. Who knows?
Honorable mentions would be Killing Joke and Gotham by Gaslight. You know, those are any of those original Elseworld books aren't that expensive. Definitely worth picking up, particularly Gotham and Gaslight, particularly Killing Joke. The old favorite Watchmen. Again, you can pick these up, and you get a lot for your money in these books. They're fabulous books.
And there's a lot of different versions of Watchmen out there. You can get a hardback book for your more, collecting collector. You can get them a softback book for like $20. That's got the whole story arc in it.
Seriously, art, okay, and how the thing put together. There's also a book, how the Watchmen was made, but this one is just Watchmen Noir, so it's just a big black and white version.
Wow. We should put that on the list for Comics by Night.
Yeah, it'll go on the. It's
there's so much beauty in it, and it's just some great sequential art.
It's fantastic. There you go.
Yeah, Dave Gibbons, man.
Dave Gibbons doing his thing, but that one's a little bit more expensive, obviously. Actually, this was only $40. Can you believe? Yeah. So that's a wonderful thing to have. Wonderful thing,
and even if you have a copy of Watchmen, you want to get this one because it's in black and white.
I have Who's Watching the Watchmen. I have The Watchmen, and I have that book. So I've got 3 copies of it.
That's the only Watchmen book I don't have. I'm going to have to get a hold of that.
And just the last one up would be any of the IDW Artisan books. They're $40. Okay, a little bit more
in paperback. In paperback,
but they're a good size. You can see what size they are, and beautiful artwork inside. This one's a John Buscema one. Okay, so if the person you're buying comics for is into art as well, okay, there's a little bit of a run in a lot of these that you can read the story and appreciate the artwork. Okay, so there's such a range of comics, and even if you're looking for comics for kids, you can just go out and obviously appropriately choose, but you can pick up floppies, down at the comic book store, okay, and you can put those in their stockings, all right? Because that's what I had as a kid. In fact, the first book I remember was that Stalin book from being given at Christmas. Not the first book I got, or the first book I can remember. But the first one I had in a Christmas stocking was a Warlock book, and I remember it to this day. To the fact that I went out and bought the reprint of it. So it means a lot. Those things are really good for kids. Okay, they're great for reading. They're great for learning how to read. But they're also great fun. Stick them in there and get the kids into comics. There you go. That's my lot. I'm done.
If anybody was interested, just further to what Russ said about the Watchmen, there, this book by Dave Gibbons about the creation of it
That's the one. That's the one I've got, mate.
That's also a great book.
Yeah.
Just
Fantastic.
phenomenal book.
And it shows you the Gibbons' layouts for the pages.
Yes.
Just spotting the blacks and all that. Look at that.
Yep.
I mean, you could
That's
just
another one to look at on a Friday because it's
Mhm.
really good. But that you do
It's a
that one
fabulous
with
book.
the Watchmen Noir.
Let's
and
do
you
that.
get
Yeah.
a real good idea about how he put that together and the way
Yeah.
he did it.
Oh, yeah.
Just brilliant stuff.
Yeah, I've got a portfolio collection of Watchmen that has the real large sized covers that Gibbons did for the French edition of the books,
Oh, wow.
because the French edition books put 2 issues together at once in one trade volume, square bound trade, and they all fit together. It's the same basic layout using the different Watchmen characters, with a clock up at the top ticking closer to midnight as the story goes along. It's just absolutely ingenious and just a beautiful set of plates that I cherish very much. So, we're also joined by Mitch Rogers right now. Mitch, give a quick introduction to yourself.
I'm Mitch Rogers. I'm a horror comics writer and artist from Greenville, South Carolina, creator of the Boger and Flesh and Blood collection series of comic books.
Thanks for jumping in. We're telling people about gifts that they can give for the holiday season to people that maybe aren't even into comics, that need to be into comics. Anybody that's into video games, I'm telling you, give them a graphic novel. Make them work for their entertainment.
I got a couple of good ones.
And give them some genuine stories while we're at it. Go ahead, Luke. I'm going to blow you up.
Yeah, so here we go. My first suggestion is this epic collection.
Yeah.
The Amazing Spider-Man, the Maximum Carnage collection. This is every book that tied in the Maximum Carnage storyline. I mean, just a tremendous art. Some of my favorite poses of all time.
Was Carnage in Venom 2? I think he was.
Yep,
right?
he was in a
Carnage
lot of them,
was
yeah.
in Venom 2.
So this is
but I knew he was there.
So this is Amazing Spider-Man, Ant-Man, Avengers West Coast, Black Panther, Black Widow, Captain America, Daredevil, Defenders, Doc Strange, and Excalibur. There are a lot of volumes in here. Those are all the titles, and there was multiple issues of each title where this storyline played out. And so this is it's the complete storyline.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at that. That's tremendous.
What's that called again? What's the title again?
Maximum Carnage.
Spider-Man.
It's Amazing Spider-Man, Maximum
Epic
Carnage.
Epic
collection.
Yep. There's a lot of really good epic collections out
This
there.
is one of my favorites.
Mark Bagley did that?
Yeah, well,
I'm sure it's a large variety
Kavanaugh,
of artists inside the front cover.
there's some Buscema in there, Bagley's in there, DeFalco.
Yeah.
We got some great
See, there was
artists,
some Al in there,
great
definitely.
writers. Fun. It is a fun read. It retails US about $40, and then
Wow! For anybody out there, if you're buying from the UK, it's 16 quid. There you go.
How
that's
much?
cheap.
I think that's
cheap.
the Kindle and Comixology version, but you can pick it up for £16.
Wow.
Yeah. So here's another suggestion of mine. It's Jack Kirby's New Gods. It's a pretty thick volume, as you can see.
Yep. Can't go
But
wrong
it's
on that.
again just beautiful artwork. The imagination of Jack Kirby just comes alive in this thing.
Yeah.
And there's classic.
You really can't
Kirby
go wrong on
poses.
any Kirby collection. There's collected Mr. Miracle. There's collected Forever people that fit in with the same world.
Yeah.
But you don't have to
And,
have all of the volumes
gonna-
together to enjoy the separate
I'm going to
books.
share my screen, Randy,
All right.
and because I'm going to do a little promotion here.
Multiple promotion. Yeah.
Multiple promotion here.
There we go.
All right. So aerocomics.store. I'm going to point out these are cheap and easy ways to give gifts. Okay.
Yeah.
Hero Bot 0, 1 and 2. One of the coolest stories.
Well,
Calico. If you want to see some fantastic art. See Michael Lanning on the panel,
Oh,
right there,
shucks.
Calico. Written by some guy named Zem. I don't
Some
know.
weirdo. Randy, some Randy idiot. Yeah, some
Randy.
Randy dude.
I bet you are.
Randy dude.
I bet you are.
I
You've got
am.
Paragon on there, the Revolt, and then obviously you've got the Hybrids books on there. I've got a full trade in this one for
Oh, you put up a lot
$25.
since
I put
since
it
I
all
looked
up, man.
last.
It's all running. Everything's
it's all
running.
good. Everything's
So-
running and good. That's why you're able to promote it now. Yeah.
Everything is running. Yeah, this thing is
Cool.
operational.
Oh,
And this
sweet.
is AeroComics.store.
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 Good.
And if you want to know some history, some really good history, there are some articles by Stuart, Ralph, and Randy about the history of Aero Comics, what it was like making comic books back then, making indie comic books. It's a good read.
And that
It's a
history
good read.
just goes up to the early 2000s. So there's a lot more after that as well. If you want a good rundown on the history, look at the Comics Unlimited magazine also that Glenn mentioned. Issues 10 and 11 both have articles about Aero Comics. Hopefully 12 and 13 will have those as well.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, and you can buy physical or digital here, but we're giving them as a gift, so we want physical, right?
yeah.
Yep.
HeroBot 02 is currently at the printer. Issues of Calico 1 and Paragon 1 also at the printer. HeroBot 1 is available immediately. As well
Randy,
as
we need to get
Hybrids
some
1,
of those old issues of.
Revolt 1.
We need to get some of those old issues of those back issues of Tales from the Universe that you've got in those boxes.
I've got a couple
listed on
long
the
boxes
site.
there, but I don't know if we want to sell those or just have everybody wait for the omnibus. That'll be coming
Why
next
not
year.
both?
Collectors will want both.
Collectors
Just
will want
throw-
both.
just throw 'em both
It's
off.
good
want
stuff,
both.
man. I'm
Sure.
telling you,
Yeah.
it's good content.
Well, I
But
keep having people ask me about it at shows, so it must
Oh yeah,
be.
there's a demand for it. You gotta meet that demand. You gotta meet that supply.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's
Well,
that's
it's like it's a little more serious than Captain Carrot. It's an entire universe of funny animal characters, that assassins and pirates and bounty hunters,
I liked it.
special
I liked
delivery
it.
pilots. Just a lot of everything.
I was 14
Yeah,
years
like
old and
pirate.
enjoyed it. So
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you can
Thank you.
sell them,
my
until
face is
you get
red for a reason.
the omnibus ready. There's
Yeah.
always that.
That too.
Gotta create some hype. Yeah.
yep, and you will not go wrong with that New Gods collection, or that Spider-Man collection. An honorable mention would be Batman Hush.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, great
Yep,
book.
that's a
One
really
of my
good one. I
favorite
like that
Batman
one a lot.
stories.
I was gonna grab it. It's back there, but I didn't have time. I just grabbed the two biggest ones that stood out right away because those are the thickest ones I have. But yeah, they're yeah. So I think comics for Christmas is. Oh, there is one more thing that's on my list. Let me show this off real quick. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and share a new one.
Okay.
Stop screen. Yeah, I'm going to talk about it live. Go to Chrome tab. And there we go. This thing is on my... It's funny. I was like, okay, this is on my list, guys. And they're like,
Oh, there you
"Seriously?
go.
Oh,
That's
wow.
This is
Yeah.
on your list?
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
Yes. This is something I can't wait to get. The Contract with God trilogy, man. Look at this thing. Hardcover's only $18 on Amazon right now.
Oh, that's good.
Look at that there. It says published quietly in 1978. Quietly.
Was it? Is that what it says?
Yeah, published quietly.
Yeah.
What does that
Yeah.
mean?
Yep.
Well, that's
Mouse
good.
is another good one.
Mouse, yeah. I'm gonna
Mouse
say,
is another good one. Yeah,
yeah.
Mouse is another good one.
Mouse is a major
banned.
work. You can't.
It got
Yeah.
banned.
Very
Telling the
major
truth.
work. And even your suggestions down below. There's the two
so many
Eisner instructional textbooks.
Yeah. Oh,
Ghost
well, I've got
World,
those.
also very
Well, I-
classic work.
If you're
Much
not
better than the movie.
if you've got a comic book creator in your here you go. Put me back up again. If you've got a comic book creator in your life, you need to give them the comics and sequential art and the graphic storytelling and visual narrative. This right here, these two books are These like textbooks for what we do, and they stay right next to me, so that I can I'll just rather than going on social media or something like that, I'll just flip through this and read a section because
In my opinion, they don't get talked about enough.
not enough right here.
Unfortunately,
so, yeah,
Eisner's kind of become a very obscure name, unfortunately, nowadays.
He's passed. He passed quite a few years ago, and his work is just so monumental. And now and as more time goes by, the more overlooked he becomes.
Yeah.
But he spent that time doing those volumes, and there's a couple of other ones that you can find on Amazon.
Yeah.
All of them are just amazing. And anybody who is, I would say, at high school level or college level that are doing comics needs to have these books. Even if they don't appreciate or know who Eisner is, they will come in incredibly handy.
Yeah, you will not go wrong with these. This is information that I wish more people that were making comics had.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Absolutely.
The content that's coming out would be far better. Here's the deal. We should buy a copy of these for every person that works at Marvel in DC.
Yeah,
they're hiring all these young guys, all these young folks that they're hiring. No, some of the people that they're hiring now, I know they have these books, and but no, this is good stuff. This is good stuff. So yeah, buying comics is great, but if you got someone that makes comics, not only will they enjoy that, but they'll enjoy these too. This is good information.
Allison points out that Mouse is on the banned book list, but it's on there for all of the right reasons.
Yeah.
You know, it's or I should say, all of the wrong reasons.
What banned book? You ban books? Who bans books?
There's school
very
systems
bad
over
people
here
ban
that
them.
don't allow that in the library.
Nazis.
But the reason for that is because it's a bare bones portrayal of Art Spiegelman's grandparents and their exposure as Jews to the Nazi regime.
Do you know what? On the UK version of Amazon, Mouse, the complete Mouse English edition, £12.55. Okay, and it's under the heading of teachers' picks.
Well, yeah, because it's a very.
There you go.
It's
So-
an important
very.
It's
Yeah.
well, of course, and I wouldn't expect it any other way.
Yeah.
To the idea that it would be banned. Good
From
lord!
what I remember, it was like not country, like nationwide banned. It was like one school district somewhere. Yeah, for some. I mean, it was a stupid reason. It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't
I
like.
believe it was in the southern states too, Tennessee or
Yeah,
somewhere
yeah,
around
Tennessee. Yeah.
there. In the Bible, what they call the Bible Belt here.
Because subtlety is lost on so many people these days.
So easily lost. Yeah.
just to underline what
Remember
Luke
what
was
it was
saying
bad,
there.
it was stupid.
Don't forget that.
Yeah, look at that.
There we go.
That's
That's
from 1985.
Yes.
That's
one of the early runs.
Oh,
any one of the three that the two that Luke showed in this one will be invaluable to a budding
That is a
comic.
first or second print of the original comics in sequential art. It's just such an essential work that it's been reprinted numerous times.
Got a copy
You
here of
notice
a
how they
light
stole
source.
that Disney font off of him.
If you want to see some,
Oh yeah.
look
yeah.
at the lighting, if you
Yeah.
can, on this woman here, and
So
how
good.
simple the lines are, how the economy of line, the characterization of the faces, the way people stand. It's just the whole book. Every
Any
everything
of
he does,
Eisner's graphic novels
Yes.
is a master class in
Yeah.
sequential
oh
art.
yeah.
pick that
Very
up.
easy. It's a
Wonderful
life
book
force
as well.
Yep.
A wonderful-
Compositional structure. Yeah.
Just turn into
And
little
Last year,
Eisner.
I was actually able to. I was lucky enough to find a copy of The Building, like the original print of it,
Yeah.
at a con here, and I was like, "Wow, I got to get this."
Yeah, I've got a first print of A Contract with God. That it's just amazing. It's one of those books that you had to get when it was out, just because if you know Eisner, you just love his
Oh, yeah.
stuff. So,
Of course, you can't go wrong with the
Expensive.
Spirit either.
no,
Yeah,
but they are.
you
The
can't go wrong
Spirit
with
is
that either.
really hard to find. If you find the collections, if you find a Spirit collection out there, know that it's a collection of short stories. You don't have to know. There's not a big canon. following Spirit. It's a very simple character to get into, but incredibly great, very complex stories, all told at 7-page increments that are just incredible. You can't go wrong with a Spirit collection.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest inspirations of the storytelling in the Boger was just little stories, here or there, not an overall epic narrative.
Yep.
DC, the last full collection of Spirit material were all done in archive editions. They're hardback. They retailed, I believe, for $50.
That's a Wally Wood cover, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Wally did 3 or 4 episodes towards the end of the run of the Spirit on the Moon. That's
look at that spaceship, one of those old 50s types.
Cigar,
yeah,
cigar craft.
And as if you'd land though in that kind of terrain when Neil Armstrong flew over that and landed on a flat bit.
Yeah, but look at that craterous moon there. It's just incredible work.
Look at the coloring.
Again, the obvious Thunder Agents dynamo belt right there for a breather. So beautiful, just gorgeous stuff. But any of the Spirit volumes, all of the Spirit Archives books that are archived that are hardback like this, if you're lucky enough to run across it, buy them, because it's 6 months worth of Spirit every volume, except the last 2 volume. This is volume 24, which is right at the end of the regular Spirit run. Volume 25 has all of the comic strip in it. That was a daily comic strip that Eisner did for many years. Issue 26 has all of the artwork done after the Spirit sections stopped, and that's all of the covers, all of the short story work, some of the stuff that ended up that Harvey printed and were printed underground for a while. Anything that Eisner did that was associated with the Spirit after the Spirit sections were done are all in volume 26, and that is an incredibly hard volume to find. All of the great wraparound covers that he did for the kitchen sink Spirit magazines are all in there, just beautifully done. Just a gorgeous book. Anything volume 24 or before are all Spirit stories, and you're getting like 24 stories in each volume. It's just an incredible book. And there are also other Spirit collections out there that you can't go wrong on that are available. You just have to look at and hunt them down. Getting more and more harder to find as time goes on. But great stuff. Couldn't recommend it enough. Another book for people, since everybody's except Mitch, I think, has shown off stuff. Another book that I found. What?
I can go over there and pick out stuff if you want me to.
It's up to you. If you want to show off gifts, you're more than welcome to. Another book that I found that I just admire and enjoy is because I wanted to get some of Dan DiCarlo's work. I found a collection of Sabrina, a complete collection, very inexpensively on Amazon. This is $10.
Wow.
It's not exactly comic book size. It's not exactly digest size. It's about halfway in between. And it's got all of the, in black and white, in newsprint, all of the early Sabrina stories that appeared in Archie's Madhouse, all the way through in order. There's Christmas stories. There's all sorts of stories in this. But if you have a female comic reader out there, especially who knows who Sabrina is, these are all of the early adventures, over 500 pages of comics, $10. How can you go wrong? Mostly all Dan DiCarlo work.
Look at that
beautiful stuff.
Look at that holding line on her head. Look at that. It's the
what?
The holding line around her hair.
Yeah, that's a heavy ink.
Yeah,
heavy ink. Yeah,
it's just incredible, isn't it?
That's DiCarlo, though.
Yeah.
And again, you can't go wrong with this material. It's just good, solid, fun, lighthearted stuff, just like Captain Carrot. There's so much of this material out there if you're looking. You can find it, but it takes a little bit of hunting. So if you're in an antique store and you run across an old digest book of Sugar and Spike, can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. It's just great stuff. And again, Ollie's epic collections. There are epic collections out there of Star Wars. This is one I've never shown before that covers the New Republic material. Some of this was I think most of this was reprinted through Dark Horse originally. Some of the more recent Marvel stuff can get a little hinky and a little disjointed, but This collection especially. It's got some great Al Williamson in it. Some beautiful artwork, great stories, self-contained. Back when Dark Horse was in charge of the property, you get some super stories. The artwork varies quite a bit, but it's all usually good quality. This is all New Republic. You don't even have to know who all the Star Wars characters is. It gets into the politics. This is all done long before Star Wars 1. So, and then they're all self-contained stories. There's a whole bunch of them in this. Very enjoyable. I always like looking at conventions and finding different books to find. I've given away as a gift a number of times whenever I find it, the Comics in Sequential, or the Comics History of Comic Books in America by Les Daniels. This is one of the books that I used to read at the library that has about the best comprehensive history of comics up through the 70s in it that I've seen out. And it's very hard to find good historical references on comics. If you like sequential art, if you're interested in comics history, can't recommend this book enough. Plus, they go through and they reprint a bunch of stories from different eras. They're in smaller size, but they're there. There's a color section in the middle. Here's an old Dick Sprang first appearance of Two-Face, reprinted. A lot of these stories I had never read or had access to when I was a kid. And it goes through Everett Submariner. It goes through the EC years. It goes through the underground years. And yeah, there's some pictures here I can't show because of YouTube and Facebook guidelines. But it's well worth your time to get it if you're interested in the history of comics. Mitch, what do you got?
Well, DC about 20 years ago did these archive editions.
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir.
Of other classic work, and this is The Dark Knight that collects the first 4 issues of the regular Batman series. It's got the first appearance of Catwoman.
Wow.
The Joker, and of course, it's the same issue. It's got one of my favorite Batman moments where he hangs a guy from a noose off the Batplane.
There you go.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
No, Batman would never do that. No.
Now he won't, but
Yeah, the old Batman.
First couple of Batman, he's shooting ogres in a biplane with a machine gun
that's in here. Yes,
to take them out.
yeah, it's right there. You're right there. He says, "Much as I hate to take human life, I'm afraid this time it's necessary." Because he always had that rule, but in the early days he was more flexible with it.
Yep.
And one of my all-time favorite comics, Akira by
Oh, yeah.
Hiro
Yeah.
Otomo.
Yeah,
There's 6 volumes. This one, as you can hang on, let me make sure. Okay, yeah, this one, as you can see, the pages are just so yellowed, but I've had a lot of reading out of this.
that goes back to the original manga. Who printed that?
Yeah.
That wasn't Marvel.
Dark
that
Horse.
printed it. Dark Horse.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's back when
Dark
they had
Horse
the
has done a
license.
run. Marvel has done a run of reprints.
Yeah.
I don't think it's been reprinted much lately, but your Barnes and Noble might have a set of those. But
Oh, there was a manga publisher that published it a few years ago. They still
probably
have.
Viz. Yeah.
Could be. It, but there's 6 volumes, so there's a lot of reading.
And look at how thick that is. The
Oh,
thing
yeah.
with Akira, though, is that it is one long story. It's a
Yeah.
phenomenal story, but it is one long story. So start with the first one.
Yeah,
A lot of manga, you need to start with the first volume and work your way out. And
Mhm.
when you give them as gifts, make sure you get as early as possible and make sure that the person who reads it hasn't read it already. So
Yeah,
you have to be
the
careful.
movie only covered the first volume and the overall ending. Like most of the story was taken out in order to put it into a movie.
Okay,
This is a
yeah.
fun comic I like called Orc Stain. I don't know if y'all have heard of it.
Nope, never
No.
have.
It's by James Stokoe. Image put it out, and it's about a entire planet that's nothing but orcs. And
Nice.
it's it's kind of like a barbarian sword and sorcery ravager thief kind of story. Kind of a cross between Conan and Fafhrd and the Great Mouser. Here's some the cool artwork, but
that's
they're all orcs.
Oh, okay. Allison
course-
says Dark Horse reprinted the whole thing last, I think, talking about Akira.
And of course, you can't go wrong with Sandman.
Nope.
I mean, just the talent that was involved in Sandman. The whole run is just phenomenal. He brought back a lot of great DC characters that have been forgotten, like Cain and Abel.
Yes.
Sequence with Cain and Abel. I think they're in the House of Secrets in that issue. Constantine makes an appearance.
The Sandman series on Netflix, very much worth watching. And if you watched it before and you didn't catch the 11th episode in the series, because they posted that up real quietly, it's 2 short stories from Sandman put together into one episode, and it includes an animated version of my favorite Sandman story, Night of 1,000 Cats. It's just a great, great story about cats taking over the world.
Yeah, and here's that copy of The Building that I talked about earlier.
Excellent, yes.
This is a wonderful kind of heart. I mean, a lot of Eisner's Dropsy Avenue work is kind of not gut-wrenching, but kind of somber and heartbreaking at times. Here's another
Slice of life.
Yeah, but I mean, I recommend Eisner to everyone who wants to get into comics,
And
both
Eisner,
as a fan and as a creator, because
graphic novels, Eisner's done such a wide variety of subject matter. It's not just the slice of life material. He's done an adaptation of Moby Dick that's out there incredibly. He did the history of Zionism, I believe, or one of the papers of Zion. That was his last book.
Prodigals of the Elders of Zion. He did like a history about the whole
conspiracy,
the birth of the conspiracy theory, more or less, not the actual, what it says, quote unquote. But
Somebody
that's
should
a good
send it to
book.
Kanye.
Yeah, what was that?
Somebody should send it to Kanye.
Kanye,
yeah.
Whatever his name is.
God, yes.
Read that, mate.
Yeah.
Educate yourself.
There's a lot they need to send to Kanye. God.
Like a rubber cell. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and Eisler also did
He's
Hamlet
heading
in
that way all
his
on
book.
his own. Thank you.
Yeah,
very much.
I don't actually. I'm not keen on that whole slice of life moniker. I would call it social drama. Because
Social drama.
I think slice of life belittles what he did.
Okay.
Because now slice of life has slightly different connotations to it, because it seems that everybody's just drinking coffee and eating pizza in slice of life. Whereas he did real drama. He really
true.
hit home with
Okay.
the stuff that he did. You read that, it's emotional.
Yeah.
It is.
That pregnant pause brought to you by Sunday Funnies.
Yeah.
Here for the 4th of December, 2022.
There were some great books today. Who has C bought some books?
I only have 2. Honestly, I don't have anything as
In
great
your
as
whole
everybody
house?
here. But
And the whole house.
Just
Oh, he's got 2 books.
books. And one of them has got the
One of them
the
is-
TV listings in them. It's a dictionary and the TV listings. There you go. That's one
Actually,
book.
see, it's a dictionary.
guide.
See?
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's just it's just a picture one because they don't make TV Guide anymore.
That's true.
No, but I was thinking, okay, if you're trying to get somebody into comic books, you might want to start with something familiar. Maybe they're not into superheroes. Maybe they're superheroed out, considering all the movies and everything. But I thought something that would be that has really good art and is familiar would be the Oz omnibus from Marvel that put out a couple years back.
Scotty Young.
By Scotty Young. And what's great about it is it's not like that horrible MGM movie. It's actually, the art isn't based on that style.
Well,
So
they'd have been sued if they'd have gotten close. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank God, though. Because at least from there, he actually took it from the book. The witch, the Wicked Witch actually looks like the Wicked Witch that's in the book and not some green ghoul, as it were. But Yeah, just if people are familiar with Oz, it's got good artwork in it. It might just kind of jumpstart people into reading more and searching out not only just the books you showed, but also other books. Things that are up and beyond the superhero moniker, as it
Yep.
were.
And there's a great Oz omnibus out there that collects, I think, the first 5 or 6 books that Scotty Young reimagined, all
That's
in
what
one
this is.
tremendously huge volume. Tremendously
That's
huge.
what this is.
Yeah, that's it. So
Yeah,
big
7.
you can't read it on the John.
It's 5
Yeah,
or 7, 900 pages.
900 pages.
Yes.
How many?
Yes.
Which of the Oz stories? Land of or Wizard of
I think
Oz,
it
Land of
goes-
Oz, Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz.
It goes all the way. I think I want to say 7, but it might just be 5. Hold on, let me look.
Could be 7.
Yeah, because he when he got the assignment, he didn't really want to do it. He wasn't a fan of it because I think he only knew the MGM one.
Yeah.
Most people do.
So few people have read even the regular book. The book is the first Wizard of Oz is amazing, and it's a lot more
yeah.
than you said. Like you said, it's a lot more than the MGM musical. No musical
It goes
numbers
all
in
the-
the book.
All right, so of course you have the Wizard of Oz, the Marvelous Land of Oz, Ozma of Oz. So yeah, 5 books. It goes all the
Ozma.
way up to the Emerald City of Oz.
Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz.
Yes. And of course, if you ever think that the wizard doesn't come back, you gotta what was it? Was it Road to Oz? No, Dorothy and the Wizard in Oz.
Yeah, Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz.
Well,
He
Well, that's
comes
a whole
back.
nother. There's a whole Oz underground that she didn't even realize first.
Oh, there's a huge group of Oz collectors out there.
Oh
that
yeah,
are,
yeah.
that are they're aging out because so few people actually sit and read the actual Oz books. The actual Oz books are just amazing. The
They
MGM
are.
musical really didn't do it justice. If you watch what is that, Road to Oz, what was the Disney movie that they
Return to
did with
Oz.
Return to Oz by Fairuza Balk
Oh,
as,
Yes,
as
that was
Dorothy.
2 of.
That's almost close to the Baum books, but not
It was
quite.
It was lifted from Marvelous Land of Oz and Ozma of Oz.
Yeah, it's a couple of books kind of blended together, but they really need to do faithful adaptations of those books, just to do
Yeah,
them.
absolutely.
Or you could watch
Absolutely.
The Wiz with Michael Jackson.
Oh well, then
Yeah,
they've got the
that'd be good,
Wicked.
yeah,
They've got
yeah.
Wicked. Well, that's what everybody. Every time I say something about Oz, somebody's like, "Oh, you should see this Oz book or this Oz book." And to be honest with you, I'm perfect. I'm a purist. I prefer the Frank Baum ones. I think he wrote like 27 of them.
26.
And
I
then-
think, yeah.
Yeah, and then some other writers came in after he passed and started writing.
Ruth Thompson come in and started drawing, and John R. Neal, who did the illustrations from the second book on, wrote a couple of books after a while once Baum had passed, and
Yeah.
that's because the books were so popular. And
Well,
if
he
you
wasn't
haven't,
planning on going back to it, and then it was
no,
so.
he didn't want to go back to it at all.
Yeah.
He went out and tried to do everything else, but the mail. He kept getting barraged with mail, and he had to sit down and write. And once the second book was out, he was done. He had to do an Oz book every year, or else
Yeah,
he'd get
yeah.
bombarded by mail, people demanding.
And
more
he did
adventure.
try to venture into. He did try to venture into film. He did.
Oh yeah,
He was trying to do the Patchwork Girl of Oz.
Yep.
I'm not sure if that film ever made it anywhere. Way before MGM got a hold of it.
silent. It's a silent movie.
Yeah. It's
Way
later.
back when.
But also, I have this other book because remember I said I had a couple. And you're talking about books that you would give an artist, and I would suggest this one, Framed Ink, and this would be for those who, like Russ, is tired of seeing the same angle in every panel. That way you can learn how to visually look at a scene. It has. To try to get the shapes and compositions and things of that nature, like even with your characters, using silhouettes and things of that nature,
Yeah.
which is stuff that you learn in the other things as well. But this is kind of more in depth into learning, how come the panels read the way that they do.
Mhm.
And this is the first one. There's 2 of these and a whole bunch of other ones called from Marcos Matao Vestri. I slaughtered that name. I'm positive. I'm not even sure what it really is, but I know I slaughtered it. But yeah, I would check that out or give that.
Well worth your time. You can probably find that on Amazon still.
Oh yes,
Trending.
yeah.
We were talking about Conan earlier. If you have an older reader, high school level or above, I would say there is a phenomenal set of adaptions of Conan out there now by Blaze, I believe the printing company is. You can find those on Amazon, adapting two Conan stories at once, and then they put the actual prose story in the back of the book that Howard wrote. Very faithful adaptations of the work. A little bit harder than what Marvel ever did, called The Sumerian. And that work, if you haven't seen those books, there's hardback books. I think they're 25 a pop. I think the fourth volume is about ready to come out now, and they've adapted some of the most classic Howard stories. And it's Conan. It's very raw barbarianism, and it leans more towards the adult. There's a naked woman in the story. There's a naked woman in the sequential art, and it's well worth your time. A lot of fun, and it's great. Just raw pulpism stories adapted faithfully into sequential art by the best Italian or French artists, European artists that they can find. It's just beautifully done, and I personally can't recommend those books enough. The first two volumes, when they reprint the prose story, the type on them is incredibly small, so you probably need a magnifying glass if you have eyes like mine in order to read them. But the third and fourth volume, the type on the prose stories are more than large enough to read, and they just make great packages, make great gifts. You don't have to know who Conan is. And in fact, they only mention Conan inside the book in order to avoid any type of legal entanglements, because the stories that Howard wrote are in public domain, but the name Conan on the cover and certain logos and certain identifying marks are copywritten here in the States, so they can't use those. So it's very much raw Conan, just great stories. And inside the book also they have pre-production art and other things in order to fill out the hardbound books. But they make great books, great gifts for somebody older, probably mostly male, who are into just hardcore pulp laden stories. Just fantastic. On the other side of the spectrum, and I've talked about this book in the past. I had to go back and re-buy it because I gave a copy to my 8-year-old granddaughter. You can't go wrong giving your kids a copy of the Cat Kid Comic Club by Dave Pilkey. This is a hardback book, Scholastic. I found this at Sam's Club, $10, $9.99. It's thick. It'll keep them reading all day. And it's about, especially this volume, this first volume, they talk about how great it is doing comics, how great it is doing sequential art, and the fact that you don't have to be the best artist in order to do it. You just have to be able to tell a story. And they break down the whole story is about these kids that meet in a club. The teacher is a floating goldfish, I believe, and this is the cat kid. See the mask? That's why he's a superhero. Anyway, that carries all of the art supplies that he needs, and inside the book they make up their own comics. And a lot of times it looks like what your kid would do, and make my granddaughters become so inspired about doing comics and doing. She took this and graduated to anime, and is currently a big fan of My Hero Academia, but she still reads these books as well. And the one thing I keep talking about, that's why I had to go back and buy this book. Inside the book, they talk about that the teacher reads all of these kids' comics, and she freaks because they're violent, and they have talking farts and poop in it, and the teacher's freaking out, going, "You can't do that. That's not appropriate. You can't do it." And then by the end of the book, she realizes, and they state in the book that comics are a way of self-expression. They're a way for kids to get out their aggression. It's a way for kids to get out their thoughts about, and farts are funny. It's just simple fact. Farts have been funny since the start of humor. So inside the book itself, he has an instructional page on how to draw your dog's poop.
My dog's
and then all the different versions that you can draw your dog's poop as: ninja poop, lady poop, baby poop, bad guy poop, robot
Betty
poop,
poop.
pirate poop, spider
Betty
poop,
Storm pooper.
Betty poop, yeah,
Winnie the Poop.
Winnie the poop, storm
Bubba
pooper,
poop.
Pooh Backer.
Bat poop.
That's the kind of humor you find in this book, and it's all lighthearted, and it's all great for kids to read. Scholastic backs this up. This is available in the schools, folks. So your parents out there get pissed if you don't want your kids drawing poop, or you don't want to understand comics. This is your entry point. And I keep saying over and over again, I think Dave Pilkey has done more to teach kids how to approach comics and how to love comics than what Marvel and DC have done in the last 25, 30 years. It's an amazing book. It's well worth your time. And, you know, as a parent or even a grandparent, sit down and read this book. It's a quick read. It's a fast read. And you'll go through it. And you might even gain a new appreciation for sequential art.
Hey, there you go.
Reading a book like this. And Sam's Club has got a lot of different cat kid books. Dogman's done by the same creator. He started out in Scholastic doing a series called Captain Underpants that has become animated. I think Netflix has got an animated show of that.
There's a movie also.
A movie? Yeah, well, it's a movie. You can expect a Dogman series to come out really quick. And now he's looked at as a major author, and he sells a lot of books for Scholastic. I hope he's getting paid really well because he deserves
Kids books. Definitely worth looking at, guys.
There's also some great collections for your older readers out there. If you haven't seen this book, I can't recommend this high enough. From Dark Horse Presents, it's a collection of the Crime Does Not Pay books. Comics.
Look at that.
Yeah, with the toaster.
I thought that was
the iron.
Yeah, I thought
Iron.
I thought it was a shoe to start with, but it's not. It's an iron, isn't it?
That's serious. That is. The toaster came back from Bill Murray and Scrooged.
Somebody
should with a toaster.
This is all the reasons some of the big reasons why the Comic Code Authority got kicked in.
Yeah.
And these
but
books
surely that's crime doesn't pay.
These stories are violent. These stories are rugged. They are very raw. And if you got somebody who's into true crime, who likes gangsters, this is the book, the collection. You can't get these issues very often. You very rarely see them at shows. Dark Horse took a bunch of them because they're all in public domain and put them all together into a book.
Randy, that's not a good advert for us. Look on the cover; it says "The Killer Cartoonist."
Yeah.
Some of us cartooning has kept us from being a killer. Okay.
Story of Bob Wood. A lot of the stories are taken from real life, and that means that they're raw and violent. So, some of the work in here is done by George Trempe. Some of it is George Tuska. Let me see if I can find a list of artists. Charles Burrow, Bob Wood did the editing, the killer cartoonist, apparently. So, designed by, doesn't say exactly who did the stories. Artists, a lot of them are artists unknown. Ed Moore, George Tuska did a lot of this. Dan Barry, who did Flash Gordon for many, many, many years. Jack Alderman, a lot of George Tuska in this. But again, raw, true crime stories, probably a lot more violent than what you're going to see on the ID channel, or on the True Crime Network shows. All brought to you in great, violent sequential art. Not for kids, but a great collection anyway. Dark Horse Presents. That was a Dark Horse comic. This is $40 in paperback. Probably still available on Amazon. I have not looked lately, but I love that volume. And that series in general, you can't, like I said, you have a very hard time finding them anywhere anymore. A lot of them have incredibly classic, violent covers to them. A guy's taking his girlfriend's and shoving her face onto a hot stove, just all sorts of stuff like that.
Lovely.
Yeah, just lovely material. It's great stuff. Anybody else got anything they want to show off?
No.
I've got a plug if I can, which is if you want to learn about the guy who was buy my book. This will show you what give you an insight as to what Jack Kirby was like, the man, rather than these creations, because he created everything, just about everything. So you already know about that. But if you read this book, I went to his house a couple of times, and you can learn about the man in there. Just a quick plug.
Yeah, edited by Brian K. Morris. It's got
It's
even got a forward in there by some Randy person.
Yeah, and you also get a DVD with it as well, which shows you,
There you
me talking to Jack in his studio.
Yep.
If you're interested.
Well, I've got you large there. Tell people how they can find you.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the usual social things. But if you want to look at my books, I've got, I think it's 10 or 11 books now, science fiction, children's books, Kennedy assassination, lots of novels and things. You can find all those on Amazon, along with Comics Unlimited, and you might even go on eBay and get some old Crikey magazines if you're lucky. But yeah, mainly Amazon and just social media.
There you go. And Luke stepped out for a second. Russ, tell folks
I'm
how they
still
can
here.
find you.
Nope.
Still here.
That's all right. I figured you were out trying to dig up more stuff to show.
No.
Russ, tell folks how they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me over at russleach.com. You can find out about the books that I produce. Currently on Batman for the UK and Europe, but I do believe that over at newsstand.com you can get yourself a copy in the States. So if that's something you want, I don't know if you get the free gift with it or not, which would be kind of cool. This month, if I can find it, it was a Batmobile that flicks off the end. It's really good. Anyway, that's for kids. So you can find me in the pages of that. If you want to pick up something for Christmas, by me. You could pick up Terminus at Fenton's Green if you like a bit of horror. If you like a bit of bonkers sci-fi, you can pick up The Indifference Engine by Saiditan. You can pick up Only Death Can Save Us, Book 1, at all good bookshops. Books A Million, Walmart, Amazon, anywhere you want. It's there globally. Okay,
I know that's available on Amazon. I just looked it up. Yeah.
If you want the
Good price.
original version, which there are only a few copies left of,
Very rarely. Very
and
rare.
you don't want your alarm to go off,
It's avocado time.
walkies.
Only Death Can Save Us will stop all alarms.
Only Death Can Save Us can stop your alarms. That's right. You can pick up an original version, okay, along with Book 2 over at Indiegogo currently. That will be over in March next year, as that's when the book will come, and you will not be able to get it anymore after that. So you can find out about all those things. You can go get me on the internets and all the social medias, and talk to me there over at russleach.com.
Sweet. Mitch, tell folks how they can find you.
You can find me at Linktree/Celtic Cross Studios, where you can find everything: my website, online store, socials, everything. While you're there, you can pick up a copy of the Boger and the Boger Southern Gothic, which are both available at my website.
Which make great Christmas gifts too, right?
They do.
Excellent Christmas gifts for your horror fan.
Absolutely.
Yes.
For your horror fan, for your monster fan, for a little kid that you want to, give traumatizing nightmares to.
There you go.
Well, I was talking to somebody about this the other day about an all ages, and the thing is with all ages is just leave out the cussing and any nudity. There you go. Don't talk down to a child. They want to think that they're up there, and you just tell the story. Just tell the story.
So,
both of them enjoy. Yeah.
So what you're saying is I should do an all ages book based on Ted Bundy. Just leave out the killing, the cussing.
Sure, you could do that if you want to.
Necrophilia.
Dude, you don't have to leave out the killing.
You don't have to leave out the killing.
Just the
Absolutely
cussing.
not.
Here in the States, just cut out the cussing and any booby that you might show. Just
That's it.
don't show that. It's an all ages book. When I was doing the newspaper, I was so scared to death. I printed a story early on of one of my characters, and it's a superhero character, and it's got a police officer that has his chest literally blown out by a shotgun, and it's pretty graphic. And I'm like, oh man, I'm going to hear it from the parents on this. I forgot that was even there, but I pasted it all together in a hurry and threw it to the printer, and it came out. And I was looking at it after it was printed, I'm like, oh man, I'm going to be in trouble. Not a word.
No, there were no nipples involved.
Not a word.
There's no
Not a word.
nipples, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Nipples.
Yeah, but then have
Every
live
time.
nudes. All of a sudden, people
Live.
flip out.
Yep. Live nude entertainment. Big word. Boom. You hear it from the parents. Yeah.
The stuff
No,
that we
because
work
even
on, I've worked on quite a few all ages, as in kids magazines, and we did Ben 10, Doctor Who. I've done a lot of Doctor Who, and obviously now I'm doing Batman. And the writing is fun, and it never talks down ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it won't keep a child's attention, because kids want to be pushed. They might not know it, but they do, because they're sponges. They're
Well,
always
they don't need to be treated like they're dumb.
No,
I mean,
And they know when they're being
exactly.
condescended to.
Yeah.
they're not. No. So
No.
they may not know as much as us, but emotionally, this emotional intelligence, which
Yeah.
is a kind of
Yeah.
a thing now.
Yeah,
That's what kids do have. So,
That's what we do with Rift Writers. It's all ages, because we don't deal with sexual themes, or we don't put harsh language in it.
Yeah.
But it's written for adults. It just doesn't include sexual themes or harsh language. But it's all ages. Kids will enjoy it. Adults will enjoy it. I think if
Kids
you
love
write
action.
something, they do.
Yeah.
I think if you write a book and omit sexual themes and harsh language, then it could be for kids.
Oh yeah,
honestly.
that's exactly what I did. I did Only Death Can Save Us. I did that for all ages.
A
You can
perfect
pick that
example.
up and,
Yeah.
What a
Yeah.
fun book. What a fun book.
Exactly.
it's just it's got big massive demons in it kicking the crap out of each other, and
Yes.
like, it doesn't matter. It's fun. Kids love action and fun.
Oh yeah.
Matt Black
Well, look at
Gaming kids are
Ghostbusters.
pretty
If you go
clued up
back and you
these
watch-
days. I'd
Yeah.
put that down to the interweb. Yeah.
Some of it, yeah. But look, you go look at Ghostbusters, and there was some adult stuff in Ghostbusters that was very.
Yeah, it was a little like a
yeah,
ghost
you're-
giving you.
Yeah.
No,
You
way
didn't do
back,
that as a kid.
way back
This guy's
when,
a sailor. He's in New York. Let's get him laid. He's fine. Okay, it's Miller time.
way back,
Why is that? That's not for kids, is it?
way back when, even through the 80s, they didn't polarize entertainment. I mean, you go
No.
back and look at some of the early Disney cartoons, that they're not necessarily for kids. There's adult elements. Look at the Looney Tunes. That's a great example. They were
Right.
made for everybody to enjoy.
If you look at not the very early, but like the mid-range Simpsons work,
Yeah.
it was
Oh, yes.
it was
Same
for
thing.
both. It was for people to laugh at and for kids to enjoy as well. It's like, it's okay to have hidden jokes. It's when those jokes become the theme. It's when they become all there is, and it's
Yeah.
like, well, it's not for kids anymore, then, is it?
Yeah.
Sit and
It's
watch
not for
some,
all ages anyway. So.
sit and watch some Beanie and Cecil from the late 60s by Bob Clampett. Just classic stuff, and with a lot of double entendres and adult humor in it that goes right over the kids' heads.
Tex Avery.
Yeah.
Tex Avery too, yeah.
When I was a
Absolutely.
kid, my favorite cartoon was Rocco's Modern Life.
That too.
Oh,
That's a good
And
one.
yeah,
That's
and
a
as a
good fun.
kid,
Good
I
cartoon.
didn't even notice that the chicken restaurant that they always ate at was called Chokey's Chicken.
Oh god.
Chokey's chicken.
My boy, his favorite was
That's those-
Billy and Mandy,
Flintstones has adult scripts, yeah.
which is
Flintstones
pretty
started
much,
out being made for
Which is
everybody. So
pretty
go
much
ahead, Jess.
like a smaller bobblehead version of Only Death Can Save Us, to be honest. So yeah, those cartoons back
remember
then,
that.
they were great. They really were.
Wasn't
They've
David
lost it
Warner
now.
in that?
Sorry.
Wasn't David Warner in that? Didn't he play one of the demons?
Yes, maybe. Yeah,
Probably.
Yeah, I think you might be right. There's some great stuff in there. I even have a line of it in my first book. There you go. It was homaged. So don't make him use his kung fu. That was the line.
Luke, tell folks how they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me over at lukestonestudios.com. That's lukestonestudios.com. All of my pertinent links are there. I do have a store. You can also find my books over at arrowcomics.store. So a lot of things going on. I just had a campaign end last night. It did not go in demand as promised, but that book will ship hopefully in about 2 weeks. So we'll have that thing out and get it into everybody's homes before Christmas. But yeah, anything that you buy off the website right now will be shipping pretty much right away. Yeah, everything's right here. you can see the boxes behind me. All those are books.
There you
in
go.
Boxes behind me. So, yep. So there you go.
And if you go over to that, Rift Riders is still in demand over on Indiegogo.
It is. Yep.
There's a great Arrow tier over there. If you want to read 8
Yes.
great Arrow comics, that's where you can go.
Yep.
And pick that up. And those will be out, February, you said?
February.
When Rift
Looks like
Riders
it,
is done.
Yeah. Our plan is to ship in February.
Yeah.
And, we're still on track for that. The art's coming along. It's beautiful.
Marvy's got a book in there.
Pages.
I've got a number of books in there. Luke's got a number of books in there. It's going to be a great, it'll be a great package.
My number
for
is
anybody.
2. My number is 2. Randy's number is 3.
4.
4.
Sorry.
Randy's got a lot of
Revolt
books.
kind of counts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of counts. It's a collection, an anthology book. So. Revolt books.
But definitely keep an eye on Arrow Comics next year. It's gonna be huge.
HeroBot Zero. Yeah. HeroBot 01 is in that package. HeroBot 02 is available at the store. There'll be a lot more coming too. We've got more stuff planned for 2023. It's going to be great. A lot of fun. Tell folks how they can find you.
Oh, as always, on my link tree /C Michael Lanning. Apparently not the only C, but a C. Also on the Indie Comics
Many
Network.
C's. Yeah.
He's cool, man. He's AC.
Who's DC?
There you go.
You don't want to know.
All right.
No.
Yeah, right.
Most of those characters over there. Anyway, never mind. Go ahead.
Also, on the Indie Comics Network, 7 p.m. Eastern, Dispatches from Outside the Box, where we scour the corners of geekdom to inspire you to create outside the box, and Sketchy Saturday, as well as, of course, Calico from Shard, which apparently you can find now at arrowcomics.store, if I'm not mistaken.
It's offered up there. They will have copies in about a week and a half.
There you go. Got upcoming Doghouse from Hazard Productions, and look forward to Apothec Press is dropping a Kickstarter called Electric, and I've got about 5 pages in there, so check that out.
Excellent.
I just love C's outside the box.
Outside the box.
I can't do it, but it's great. Outside the box.
I love hearing Glenn try
You
to
hear
do
it? I
an
don't hear
American
it.
accent.
It's not
What you
only
saying,
is it
Rick?
an American accent, it's Southern down
It's
Louisiana.
Louisiana.
Y'all-
Outside the box.
A little bit of the
Y'all
draw.
come back now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I
there really
forgot I-
isn't one American accent. There's like multiple.
No.
Actually, they get that saying wrong, Glenn. It's not y'all come back now. It's like y'all better get off my porch.
Get off my lawn.
See, we have some stuff in common with the Brits.
yeah.
We don't want people.
Yeah.
We don't want people on our lawn either.
Get off my land.
Well, that's what we did with you lot. We got you off our lawn.
What was that? Gordon what? Gordon Becker?
Gordon
No.
Bennett.
Gordon Bennett? Gordon Bennett?
Gordon Bennett.
Gordon Bennett.
Love a duck.
He was also
Get off
Gordon
my
Bennett.
porch.
Gordon Bennett was a newspaper tycoon, wasn't he, in New York in the
Yeah, something like that. Maybe that's where I heard it.
20th century?
That's probably where it comes from, yeah.
One more book to show off before we go. I got a collection of Star-Lord here I picked up the other day.
wow.
Nice.
Oh,
Look at that cover. I think
Look
that's
at that.
Norm or Jusco. Anyway, great painted cover. Inside, right, there is this phenomenal story.
That's the original stuff, yeah?
That's all the original stuff
Yeah.
together. Yeah. There's this great story. The original Star-Lord.
That's the one. That's the one that's imprinted in my memory. Yep.
Beautiful story. Look at that 2-page spread.
Look at that.
A great
Oh, wow.
full-length
Wow.
story in this,
That's
Who's
beautiful.
drawing that? Is that Alan Davies?
drawn by the great John Byrne,
John Byrne.
inked by the great Terry Austin,
Wow.
written by the great Chris Claremont. That's
Oh,
why
wow.
you remember it so well, is because
Yeah.
it's so classic. Just classic.
Oh my god! Now I'm gonna have to buy that.
This is Star Wars level Star-Lord material here. Look at that.
An epic
Look at
collection.
that. Anybody wonders where HeroBot got that helmet? I don't say. I'm taking it right from there.
An
he-
epic collection,
he
Randy.
ain't
Everything's
using it.
inspired.
He ain't using it. That's all I know. Not only that, but it goes through a whole series of Carmine Infantino stories done in for the Black and White magazine, and it ends beautifully, I might add, by the 6-issue miniseries, Star-Lord miniseries, painted by Dan Lawless.
Wow.
Just beautiful stuff.
Randy,
Beautiful
is that an
painted
epic
stuff.
collection?
This book. No, it's not listed as an epic collection.
No?
Its retail price is $34.99, but I got it at Ollie's.
Ah,
$7.99.
God.
How do you
Ollie should
turn
pay
that
you.
down? How do you turn that down? And this is a book. If I found multiple copies of this book, I'd be giving it away as door prizes at the conventions that I run, because I know the material. It's all family friendly. It's all mainstream Marvel material, and the stories are just great. Timothy Zahn is the writer on the Star-Lord story. Dan Lawless, I believe, is the painter on that.
I can pick up a used version for $20.
There you go. I can't recommend that enough. That's a deal at $20.
Yeah.
It is.
I can get a brand new one for $30.
And this is heroic Peter Quinn, by the way, not the stumbling, bumbling idiot fawning over Gamora that you see in the movies. This is all great pulp space opera superhero stuff. And it's a thick volume. There's a lot of great stories in that. Look at that.
Yeah, I think the only thing that honestly I think I've read that had Star-Lord in it was a Conflict Annihilation or Annihilation Conflict.
Yeah. Yep. This has got the Marvel Spotlight stories. It's got just writers on this: Steve Englehart, Chris Claremont, Doug Moach, and Timothy Zahn. Penciled by Steve Gann, John Byrne, Carmine Infantino. There's some Gene Colan. There's some Bill Sinkovich, Tom Sutton, and Michael Golden. How do you get that good of a book? That's oh my goodness. It is just
I love
great
Bill
stuff.
Sinkovich.
Everybody in this book is a classic artist. The stories are great. Very rarely seen, very rarely reprinted. That Star-Lord by Byrne is worth the price of admission alone. Very much in the vein of Star Wars. Claremont at the height of his abilities, and Byrne and Austin just as they were getting together. I think that was out just barely before they took up on X-Men. Just incredible classic stuff. And luckily in this, it's in black and white and wonderful zipatone. So it's not hindered by color. You can get some versions of it that's got color in it. Look at that. Let me blow that up. So this is another one of those books that you could spend an hour episode on. Look at that monster coming up from the deep.
Wow.
Just beautifully done.
That is beautiful.
Right next to the simplistic.
Nice
that negative
details,
space that worked there. Yeah. John Byrne. That is best.
He just knew how to add detail where it was needed and back off where it wasn't.
Professional. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of that over-rendered look now in comic books. And it just...
Way too much.
It's
bought
so
that.
busy.
And stylized.
Yeah.
It includes the Marvel magazine.
I just bought one.
Star-Lord.
Just bought it.
Sold!
Bought it on
Yeah.
Amazon. There's another nearly new one there, for Marv, and it's got the publisher's pen mark on the left hand on the edge of the pages. But other than that, it's brand new. So
like I said, I know most of the stories in here. You're gonna love it.
Yeah.
You're gonna love it.
I just remember that page that you open up, because I remember that Star-Lord page. I don't know what magazine it was in or what comic it was in that I read it from, but I remember that one pose.
The Byrne Austin,
the eye, the almost like a bug's eyes through glasses. Yeah.
on the monster coming up. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a prestige format collected comic at one point in color, and then I think they reprinted it again square bound. But you don't see it very often. And here they kicked this out because of Guardians. Obviously, they had a lot of copies left over if it ended up at Ollie's.
Wow.
And again,
You get all the good stuff, man. I think.
He really does.
no, it's just that I watch Ollie's a lot. That all of that stuff goes through all of the stores. They start out splitting it up real evenly, and then they start shuffling it around like a nutshell game. to the different Ollies in order to get rid of and liquidate all of the inventory because it's all non-returnable. But
Yeah.
they literally bought it for nickels on the dollar from them. And this all sprung out of foreign printing. All of this stuff's all printed in China and overseas Taiwan. And it's because Marvel could print 10,000 almost as cheaply as they could print 5,000. So they overprinted on a bunch of that stuff. That's why you had those big blowouts at Ollie's years back. It's because they were clearing out. They decided, why are we paying for the storage warehouse space when we can just sell it to Ollie's and let them deal with it?
So much of that is going to digital press now as well, isn't it?
That
On
too.
demand.
Yep.
Yeah. Because the warehousing space isn't being used now.
Right. I sincerely doubt you could buy all of the Star-Lord stuff digitally even for $20. So
No.
No, yeah.
just great stuff. And this stuff, the showcase presents the Epic collections, the essentials. Marvel and DC both need to do a heck of a lot more of, and they could do cheaply printed volumes of this material. It's just sitting there in their library that they could be moving through the dollar stores if they wanted to. If they wanted to, they could do it. They don't want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, those essentials books, you could knock them out black and white, and people would, lap them up. You wouldn't need to sell huge numbers of them.
They did it for years.
Make them cheap, and people will buy them. I love those essentials books.
Oh, yeah.
Because from an artist's perspective, you get to see a little bit more of the art. Even though they're at a small size, you still get to see it in the black and white. It's great.
Not just that, but for a collecting perspective, and it's not like they don't have all of the Marvel library in black and white photostats and used to be sitting in the New York offices. I don't know.
They must
if it's
have digitized it as well. It must all
I'm
be.
sure that they have.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Oh,
they
yeah.
have. And they could kick that stuff out on newsprint incredibly inexpensively in a nice, and doesn't even have to be comic size, just readable,
No.
Or they could be blowing out large treasury editions as far as that goes.
Well, yeah.
In newsprint, like they used to, and charge $10 a piece for a treasury. They used to charge $2 for, those books used to be phenomenal for gifts. That's why they always kicked out a holiday special in those big treasury size formats.
Yeah,
so that
Marv's right. The essentials are expensive now because they're not in print anymore.
Yeah.
I picked up a Dracula, Tomb of Dracula.
Right.
And that was £45.
Wow.
So it's like $60. That's
Yeah.
for the book. That's a lot of money for that book.
Especially considering when it first came out, it was probably $15 or $16.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, actually, it wasn't a bad price on the open market.
Oh no, but it's still worth that what you paid for.
And it is worth
Absolutely.
having, but still, it's an expensive buy if that's not if that's not what you're into.
Because where else are you going to find
Christmas presents?
Yeah, where else are you going to find 25 issues of Gene Colan? Beautifully inked by Tom Palmer and written by Marv Wolfman, just classic material.
The thing is even the more recent stuff, like the
Epic collection
stuff, they're getting more difficult to get hold of.
Yeah,
they're not in print. It's probably because of the whole China thing and because of the
it's going to get rougher.
For the last 3 years, it's been difficult to get hold of even the more recent books.
Yeah,
so
that's why I want to just point out again before we go. Definitely, if you want some great Christmas gifts, if you want some great comic reading, go visit your retailer. Take a look at their graphic novel shelves. Take a look in their magazine boxes. There's some phenomenal material there at reasonable prices. You'd be amazed of what you find, and I probably don't have it handy here. Maybe if I reach far enough, I can get it. The other day at a show,
Oh,
wow!
Number 7, $8. $8. $8. That's a Frank Frazetta cover right there.
Yeah.
Superb.
Wow.
Main cost on that when it was first out was 35 cents. But it's a Frazetta cover. It's Eerie number 7. And you have Dynamite has gone through and collected the Eerie, the Creepies, and the Vampirellas in hardback books for $50 for like a 10 or I think it's 10 issues at a pop, maybe 12 issues at a pop, maybe as few as 8, depending upon the size of the magazine. But, nothing matches Esteban Maroto's Vampirella or a good old style Eerie and Creepy collection, just as good as the EC material. Way back when, there's Ditko, there's Wood, In this issue, there's Ditko, there's Wood, there's a Gene Colan story. It's just a great collection of stuff. Can't go wrong. And the retailers all have magazine boxes out there with Eries and Creepies in it. Rooks, amazing stuff. 1994s are out there. Any of the old Warren magazines are worth your time. So, and definitely check Barnes and Nobles at their discount books. There's bound to be more stuff out there. I'm not sure. I haven't checked recently if they have anything there, but Calvin and Hobbes volume, can't go wrong. Mad Collections, again, you can't go wrong on. Sorry, I'm losing my voice, but we need to stop talking anyway and move on. Everybody, I want to tell you how much we appreciate you watching. We've had really great viewership for this episode. Deeply appreciate you all out there listening. Hope you have had a good time looking at all of this stuff as much as we've had presenting it to you. I'm your host, Randy Zimmerman. If you want to see some of my work, you can go to aerocomics.store and go look at that there. Or if you want to read a great pulpy science fiction story over on Amazon right now, War of the Worlds Infestation, it's still available over there. It's a great 5-issue arc, beginning, middle, and end. Almost got turned into a TV miniseries. And that's War of the Worlds Infestation, available from Caliber Press, with beautiful artwork by Horace. It's a story I'm still really proud to have done. It's an old-fashioned, pulpy science fiction story. About 100 years later, the Martians decide to invade the Earth again, and they've cured their bacterial problem by making the red weed be able to terraform Earth's atmosphere. And the way they do that is by eating organic matter. So it's wiggling through the prairies, finding human flesh and other organic matter to eat in order to spewed out an atmosphere that the Martians can breathe.
Bloody bargain, $9.99 on Amazon. I'm buying that.
My book?
Yeah, I got it right.
I would have just created antibacterial soap. That's probably easier.
And it's wonderful black and white artwork. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. The artwork there is by Horace, who's a great German illustrator. They did a German adaptation I don't have a copy of, but he told me I was famous in Germany for about 10 minutes.
It's got a Walking Dead vibe to it.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's very, very much after the. What happens is that the Martians start dropping cylinders again, and we know what they are because they dropped them 100 years before that. So we start bombing the cylinders as soon as they're open until our politics get in the way, and then a tripod gets made, and then 3 get made, and it turns into a real war after that.
So this is a nonfiction book.
But it's so much, I'm telling you, and not because I wrote it, but it was so much better than that Tom Cruise mess that they did.
I agree. I concur. Yeah,
that's what killed the miniseries, was that Cruise and Spielberg announced they were adapting or doing a modernization of the Paramount movie, and the deal just went right through the floor.
It is pretty funny. We're all talking about the comics, and as we bring them up, Russ is over there buying them off Amazon.
Yeah,
buying them all.
That's fine.
We've just given him his shopping list.
There you go.
I'm a sucker.
It's for other people, Russ.
I love comics. I love comics.
Other people.
That's all there is to it.
I love comics. Are awesome.
That's what Matt Black says. Everyone is talking about comics. Meanwhile, Black Belt's buying them. LOL. I have to love it. Absolutely. Marv says, got that one, Randy. Very good. Thanks, Marty. Thank you very much. All right, everybody. This has been the Sunday Funnies for the 4th of December. Hope we've given you some buying options for holiday gifts. Make sure you give the gift of comics, and it doesn't have to just be the holiday season. A lot of times when I'm out there, like, for example, and I've said this before, I was at Ollie's and picked up this Manhunter gold collection. And Manhunter is one of my favorite stories of all times. Walt Simonson and Archie Goodwin. When you talk about superheroes, that Manhunter, even though he's got a cage around his ankle, it's a great story and has a crazy ninja type outfit. Just a phenomenal story by Goodwin and Simonson, one of Simonson's earliest published works. And it is, again, a master class in graphics and sequential art and storytelling. I was offered, Jason's got the Artisan book of the Manhunter series, but I told him if he gives it to me, he's never going to get it back. That's the way that works. But excuse me, it's phenomenal story, and it's got this edition especially has got an ending 20 pages in the back that Simonson did off of an outline that Goodwin and him had agreed to before Archie Goodwin passed, and the entire story is done without dialogue in a tribute to Goodwin, and you don't have to have dialogue for the story to understand it.
They
And
did.
it's just great stuff.
They did the same thing with Swamp Thing because Lynn Wein and Kelly Jones were working on a Swamp Thing miniseries when Lynn Wein passed, and in one of the Swamp Thing annuals that they sold at Walmart, they did just that. They just printed the artwork without speech balloons.
And why they haven't done this in other media is just, I mean, in a TV series or a movie, it's just beyond me because it's such a great story. And it's a rebooting of the Golden Age Manhunter brought up to modern times, and it with a nice science fiction twist to it, as Archie Goodwin was amazing in that. But anyway, my point is on that, as I went through and I bought out our local Ollie's, they had about a dozen or so copies of it because this entire book was only
Now you just rubbing it in.
$1.99.
Buck 99. Buck 99. So there was a convention that I threw here in Flint, and I went around to all of the artists and had it in a little satchel. Hey, have you ever read Manhunter before? Take this. You're gonna love it. This is
You are
my
the
favorites.
comic book Santa Claus, Randy. That's what you are.
Yeah,
That's
yes.
It's my new title, Comic Book Santa Claus.
That's just it. I've got all 12
There
of
you
these
oh,
volumes.
Oh,
All
wonderful.
12. If you love horror, buy the original set.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Fantastic stuff.
Just as another, we were talking about buying stuff. We've had people like,
Recommendations. Yeah.
recommendations for sci-fi and for slice of life and for all kinds of, but horror, just you can't go wrong with
The Alan Moore run, the initial
Yeah.
Len Wayne, Bernie Wrightson run.
Yeah.
Just
how they
phenomenal.
retrofitted that original story and then made it about the Green and just he went to hell to get back the woman he loved. I mean, it's so epic. It had such an effect. The story had such an effect on me when I wrote it. I was buying the volumes and literally I couldn't wait for one to enter. Fantastic.
There we are. Just great stuff. I do the same thing with Marvel Premiere number, I think it's 56. Hardly nobody's ever seen it. It's Howard Chaykin doing a cyber pulp cowboy space opera called Monarch Starstalker. It's also one of my favorite stories. Just a great character.
Isn't it funny how some of those stories you can't get them out of your head. They never, they never leave you.
Yep.
They never leave you. It's
absolutely.
Sometimes it's an image, sometimes it's the art, and sometimes it's the story. I mean, for instance, Swamp Thing right the way through had fantastic art, but it was the story. The fact that he went to hell to get the woman he loved back. That's just so epic. Brilliant.
There's also the essential volumes out there that I can't recommend enough. Conan, if you find it in black and white. First 25 Barry Windsor Smiths in black and white, even though it's printed on newsprint, well worth your time.
If you find an essential by Buscema, right, tell me, I'll pay you double.
There you go. one of the greatest essentials that I love giving away, and I've given it away twice for Christmas gifts, is the Kill Raven Marvel Essentials. It's got all the Warrior of the Worlds is what they call it, because I'm a Warrior of the Worlds fan anyway. But you've got a book there that literally goes from Continuity Studios, Krusty Bunkers, Neil Adams, Howard Chaykin, all of those great continuity guys, goes into the most absurd George or Herb Trimpe artwork where he fights a giant mutated rat guy for a bit, and then evolves literally into some of the best sequential comics that you've ever read, with Don McGregor and P. Craig Russell doing the artwork on it, just as P. Craig Russell was coming into the business. And P. Craig, if you're not familiar with Russell's work, definitely look at it. Elric, the Wagner operas, the adaptations that he's done, absolutely beautiful work, just phenomenal stuff. So can't recommend that enough. Plus, there's a Godzilla Essentials out there that if you ever find it, Talk about brain check material. Just beautiful material. Just Herb Trempy, George Tuska, sorry. George Tuska at the best. Just don't think about the story. Just enjoy Godzilla running through the Marvel universe. It's just great with Nick Fury and Dum Dum Dugan chasing after him. Just great stuff. Great
I'm gonna have to go and look for that now.
Well, speaking of Godzilla and brain check material,
I probably shouldn't have recommended that to you because the Conan one and the Godzilla one are worth a lot of money because they printed them without really getting clearance for the rights, and they were kind of hand slapped for both of those.
yeah, if you really want to read a good Godzilla story, that's you don't have to think while you're reading it. Godzilla versus Charles Barkley.
Oh yeah,
That was a comic in the 90s.
that's a classic.
There you go.
Yeah.
Classic.
They even made basketball shoes for Godzilla.
I'm in
They
the middle
shoot
of
us under
I'm
the
in the middle of the
sack,
movie Troll right now on Netflix.
I heard that's good.
Oh, I heard that was good.
Oh
Yeah, I
my
heard that
God.
was good.
Just it's let's take the Godzilla formula from Japan and apply it to the Netherlands and a mountain troll. That's exactly what it is. Just beautiful though. And
Have
it's
you ever
all
seen
like
Troll Hunter?
there's the crazy coot that's in every large monster movie who knows everything about what's happening. It's got all of the tropes there. It's just great to watch. And it's got great effects on it too. It's just a great brain check movie.
That Godzilla's $90.
Yeah, don't buy it. Don't unless you have to have it. But it's like the first 25 of the old 70s Marvel comics. Most of it's
Wow.
Herb Trempy at his Herb Trempiest.
That's his Herb Trempiest.
It's the only way to describe it.
Yeah.
You like those old Hulk fight books that he did so much for so many years. Hulk versus the most crazy monster that you've ever seen fighting each other. That's where Wolverine and the Wendigo and all sorts of characters come from.
Hulk smash.
Yeah, Hulk. That's exactly right. Hulk smash. Leave. Puny human needs to leave Hulk alone. Yeah.
Puny God.
Hulk just wanted to be by himself and enjoy nature, but no, gets run over by a large monster. Leave Hulk alone.
Well, that happens in the woods a lot.
Always.
It's always in the woods. Yeah.
He bounced around for a couple of years like that. They're all great stories. And one of the fond things with Doc Samson chasing after him with the green hair and the crazy, almost Captain Marvel looking outfit. Yeah. Great stuff. Great, cool stuff. And you never see that reprinted anymore either. I think I've got the essentials that covers that era for Hulk. I hope I do at least. I'll have to go back and look at them. Anyway, everybody, take care. So glad you were here watching. Yep. I have to go rest my voice now or get some tea. So we'll see everybody soon. Any last words from anybody?
Buy our books.
Buy independent alternative comics, especially ours, aerocomics.store. Look on Amazon for Comics Unlimited and for Only Death Can Save Us. Well worth your time. Great stuff. And Calico's available from C and the hybrids from Luke. Go over there and look. The Boger from Mitch. Do that. And Hatch, second volume coming early next year.
Yep.
On Amazon.
Number one's on Amazon right now.
Number one would make a great Christmas gift as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see everybody soon. Take care, everyone. We're going out with a couple of bumps and the opening again. Hopefully, if it plays. Last Comics by Night, I was playing the opening, and that's when Brian was talking, and everybody could see themselves on the screen. I was watching the opening play and was pointing. This is not a charade. Luckily, I wasn't speaking, or the mic would have picked it up. So. But yeah, I don't know how that happened. He said, scrolling down. Hopefully, this is our opening for Sunday Funnies. So we'll see everybody soon. Take care, everyone.
See ya.
We'll be back next Sunday morning to talk more comics and more fun. Comics by Night, Friday mornings at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then the Zimcast again at 10 p.m. on Wednesdays, where we talk about the comic business from a more opinionated point of view. So we might not be as nice this Wednesday. We'll see. Anyway, maybe we'll talk about character, like C. Michael is talking.
God bless you, governors.
Or AC, as I like to call him.
AC.
Yeah. Hey.
CM.
Cool like AC.
CML. That's it. CM.
CML.
We'll see everybody. Take care.
See ya.
See ya.
Now on Sunday mornings, long time.
That's not the one either.
Ah,
Our promo.
professionalism is
Always
Oozing it.
professional. Timing
Oozing.
is everything. Here we go.
Have a question or comment for us to address on the show? Have a topic you want us to talk about? Email us at indiecomicsnetwork@gmail.com. Want your comics to arrive in pristine condition? Head over to GeminiComicSupply.com and save 10% on your next Gemini mailer order or anything in the Gemini Comic Supply store. Use coupon code RAGIN10. That's RAGIN 10.
See, I hit it and it didn't activate. There I go again.
When your timeline reaches its Armageddon, what's a kid to do?
I'm not a...
Snag the keys to your mom's experimental ship, of course.
That's not quite how it happened.
Drift aimlessly in the rift between dimensions, trying to figure out how to operate it.
Now hold on a sec.
Pick up a few hitchhikers,
Hi! Hello.
and maybe solve a disturbing mystery that could lead to the destruction of reality itself.
You know, if there's time... There's always time.
I'm not so sure about that.
Get in on the adventure with the Rift Riders on Indiegogo.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
The cops are doing their job as long as they don't be mean to people who are actually being innocent. Then I'm all gravy, baby.
And, who's your favorite Marvel Comics hero? Mine is Superman. Remember the motto? With great power comes great responsibility.